Hi, I'm Charlotte Allen, founder and CEO of Rebel Success for Leaders. We work with executives and vice presidents responsible for R&D, engineering, and innovation at food and bev companies. The topics we share on this channel are critical to change leadership success in any organization. Today, we're talking about the decisions that are made by every executive on whether to spend personal capital voicing a hunch. Picture a routine executive meeting. Everyone's nodding, there's no visible tension. By every outward signal, the room agrees. But it probably doesn't. 3 of the senior leaders in that room have an uneasy read on the plan, and none of them say so. This isn't new. It's not rare. 30 years ago, Michael Beer and Russell Einstadt identified barriers that leaders privately recognized in their organizations, but rarely said out loud. In 2025, Beer and Joanna Pregmark reconfirmed the same pattern and found a 7th barrier, an unwillingness to delegate real decision rights. So today we're talking about the avoidance tax. The organizational cost of every hunch a leader was in a position to raise, but calculated wasn't worth the personal capital to say out loud. And when we talk about personal capital, we talk about whether or not there's psychological safety. We talk about whether or not we're going to be the only one. We also talk about knowing that you don't get every chance to raise a hunch. Sometimes you get one chance to raise a hunch, and if you're wrong, the next time you raise a hunch, it's going to be a lot more challenging. So where does this show up? How do you know when your organization is paying this tax? Watch for a decision that gets quietly unwound after it was made months prior. Watch for that same concern resurfacing in different meetings, from different people, and in different words. The recurrence is the signal that most organizations miss, because if one person has an uneasy read on a situation, it's probably true that more than one person has that same uneasy read. Left alone, this becomes the default setting. Researchers call it the climate of silence, where speaking up starts to feel both futile and risky. So we don't do it. It's not new. This has been reconfirmed, the 7 same silent killers 3 decades in a row. So here they are, top down or hands-off senior management style, unclear strategy and conflicting priorities, ineffective senior management team, poor vertical communication, poor coordination across functions, businesses, or borders, inadequate down-the-line leadership skills and development, and new in 2025 research, poor delegation of authority and decision rights. Here is our infographic. We share these each time within these YouTube videos. This gives you all of the key messages in one place, and it's also available in the notes. Here's what it looks like mapped out. None of this means leaders should say more often about everything. The ask is much smaller. Make it cheap enough and safe enough for a credible hunch to be brought up before the room and the meeting settles into agreement that nobody really actually feels. That's what we ought to be doing. Again, I mentioned a lot of resources in the video. Here they are, and they'll be available to you as well. If you'd like to read the full blog analysis, you can find that on our website, and a LinkedIn newsletter article by a similar name. And then you can always, please, subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Every other month, we host a virtual conversation with leaders to share insights, challenges, and strategies for implementing critical initiatives successfully and making them stick. These conversations uncover real-world challenges, and we're designed for those folks leading innovation engineering, IT, and R&D. If you'd like to join our virtual conversations, sign up to get on the distribution list. The information is in the show notes. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next time.